Did
Now,
they give any reason for this?
no reasons were given. No reasons were given. Now, in addition,
But does the rule of the law allow them to do that?
well, it's not so much a question of whether they're entitled to. I mean, the election committee will come up with guidelines. We're not quarreling with their right to issue guidelines. We're saying, one, guidelines should be in tandem with the NBA's constitution. That's one. Two, there are certain things that you should take into consideration. Publishing guidelines on the 22nd of April, stating that there would be a 2-day accreditation process, has prepared the minds of people who would be there. Lawyers are busy people. Lawyers would have made travel arrangements far ahead
And then
of
a
time.
few days to the election,
you
you just
change it.
change the rules midway.
Now, meanwhile, the Abuja airport is going to be closed for about midnight on Saturday the 12th, up until about 5 a.m. on the morning of Monday the 14th of July. A number of people would also presumably have wanted to come fly into Abuja over the weekend. Now, without flights, it means that there's going to be a lot of pressure on available flights for Monday. So I envision a situation where a number of people, I fear, would exactly. And one begins to ask, these elections, as you had noted, are critical. We are concerned, and not just we, the whole country is concerned about the leadership of the Bar Association. We want to elect a fresh crop of leaders who will steer affairs for the next 2 years. That is a very important process. Next year is a national election year. The people who lead the Bar Association will be critical to the process of safeguarding our democracy. And I worry that with all that is going on, we seem to be treating this process with, in my view, a bit of levity, and that is worrisome.
But as your branch or any of the branches written to say that in view of this and this, in view of the closure, in view of the fact that lawyers are busy people, they've made plans, and then the closure of the airports and all of that, perhaps you should reconsider this issue of accreditation being cancelled for Tuesday and limiting it to just Monday. Has there been any moves in that direction?
Well, I'm not aware of any moves. For us at the Lagos branch, as you know, this past week has been a very busy week for us. We're just ending our annual law week, and we really were not in any event. The fresh guidelines, so to speak, came out about, I think, Wednesday, the 9th of July.
But so what would happen if the lawyers get there and with all of these issues, and then what you're told you can't do anything on Tuesday, and then some people, like we fear, are going to be disenfranchised?
Well, Shola, I really don't know what to say to that. I would like to think that there will be a reconsideration of this point, of this issue. I would like to think, I'm hopeful that it will be reconsidered.
So apart from the issues of the guidelines being changed in the middle of the process, and then I know you've also had some other issues with the election guidelines.
Yes, we have.
Which you tried to debate, and you said nothing has happened in that direction.
No, there's been no change.
So can we really say that this process is going to give the members of the bar the kind of leadership that they want to see?
Well, the candidates for the various offices are known. I'm confident that the lawyers who are delegates who would be voting are very serious-minded, very enlightened people. And I'm pretty confident that they will do the right thing. That despite the inconveniences that this process appears to be, that lawyers will strive to come in on Monday, stay over, accredit, vote, and vote in the right caliber of people to lead us for the next 2 years.
Now let's round up with the issue of zoning of positions of the bar, especially against the agitation by the Midwest Bar to produce the next president of the bar. And especially because for the first time since the zoning process has been adopted, it appears not to have worked, because we have 3 candidates from the same zone, the Southwest where it's been zoned to, now vying for elections, and then the Midwest also, you know, wanting to take a shot at the presidency. What are your thoughts about zoning? Do you think that it's something that we should still continue to practice?
I have a personal abhorrence for things like zoning. Um, I've always believed that everything should be based purely on merit. Wherever the person is coming from should not matter. Now, but the reality, expediency, tends to dictate a different approach. And I concede that there is some sense in the zoning arrangements. Ethnic tensions in Nigeria have always run very deep. And by zoning, it's one way of ensuring that every part of the country doesn't necessarily feel excluded by a process that otherwise might tend to throw up more candidates from a more dominant part of the country. So it's something that I think we may have to live with. But I will still insist that even though it has been zoned to a particular region, the process for throwing up a leader from that region should be merit-driven. Now, bear in mind that it's only the office of president of the NBA that is zoned. The other offices are wide open for anybody from anywhere and all that. It's sad that, on the one hand, that in this year's election, the West, or the Southwest, to which the office of presidency has been zoned, has not been able to come out with a consensus candidate. But on the other hand, I tend to think that there is something to be said for healthy competition. I think that sometimes when you insist on arriving at a consensus candidate, then you have a lot of trading or trade-offs, horseplay, and you may not necessarily get the very best person. What is driving the concerns this time is not because there are 4 candidates, or in fact 5 candidates really. It is the fact that the three of the 5 are ethnically from the zone, and they will be competing against 2 other people who are ethnically from the Midwest. And the perception is that votes will be split. It may have made more sense if the 3 candidates from the core West could have come to an arrangement and thrown up a consensus candidate. But if that has not happened so far, if it doesn't happen, I think that it has created a very interesting electioneering process. One of the things that we have found is that the candidates, all 5 of them, have had to sell their candidacy on the basis of what they have to offer, and not merely on the basis of who they are. So in a perverse way, this situation, which some consider is unhealthy, has actually thrown up a very healthy, I would say, ingredient into the whole process. And I think at the end of the day, it would probably help us to, if we vote in accordance with our conscience, in accordance with the criteria of who is best for us, I think that this process will throw up pretty good leadership for the NBA this year.
That's our interview segment. Don't forget that the elections of the NBA holds on the 14th and 15th of July in Abuja. I'll be there to cover and report the process and the elections, so you can look out for that. From what we know for now, 5 candidates are contesting the presidency of the elections, and it promises to be an interesting one. Law Weekly, and indeed all of us at Channels Television, will also like to use this opportunity to commiserate with the Aturu family on the passing of a legal giant, Mr. Bamidele Aturu. We hear that his burial has been fixed for the 25th of July. That's the program this week. You can watch it all again on our YouTube page. And if you want to interact with me on anything on the show or any other legal issue, please use any of the handles on the screen. I'm Shola Shieli. Thank you for watching.